So I am turning 30 in 2 weeks. And of course, with a milestone like that coming up, I have reflected a little bit on my life so far. And I have come up with 3 things that I wish I had known earlier. I believe that those are 3 things that everybody should know in their early 20s already. Let's get started. So the very first thing that I would have liked to know in my early 20s is that it is totally okay to feel a little bit lost in life. So many people think that they need to have it all figured out by the time they turn 20 and they start going to college, including me, by the way, when in fact there's almost nobody out there who knows exactly what they want out of life at that age. It's just a facade that people are putting up because they feel just as insecure as you do. And it's totally okay to try out a lot of different things in your 20s because you just don't know exactly what your path in life should look like. How could you know that if you've never failed, if you've never tried out all the different paths that are available to us nowadays? So you need to fail a couple of times and take some detours maybe and stumble and fall and get back up again, because that's what life is like. We simply learn from our mistakes, we auto-correct our direction in life a little bit, and then we keep moving forward. I remember, for example, very clearly that when I was still a student, I felt very lost and had no idea what exactly I wanted to do later on in my life. I studied business as a bachelor, then I moved to the Netherlands and studied a master in behavioral economics. Then I moved to Sweden and took a second master in logistics and supply chain management. And after I graduated from that, by the time I was already 26, I just moved to China and became a teacher there for English. So I was kind of zigzagging my way through life, completely lost, no idea what I would eventually do. And to be honest, I'm still at that stage a little bit. I still don't know exactly where I'm gonna end up in 10 years, in 20 years, in 40 years. But the thing is that as you grow older, you figure out more and more that life is not exactly about the destination. Because the destination is the same for all of us. Ultimately, it's death. The important part is the journey. And the journey is what makes life so exciting. And the journey is so exciting because you don't know exactly what's gonna happen next. So instead of just trying to have that ultimate destination that you move towards without looking left and right, enjoy the journey. Enjoy what is happening, and especially when you're surprised by something and you're caught completely off guard, simply embrace that. Because that's what makes life so amazing. That being said, of course you do want to refine your path more and more over time. You do want to pay close attention to what you're drawn towards, what you dislike. You want to figure out what kind of people you want to surround yourself with and what kind of people you like to avoid. You want to figure out your strengths and weaknesses so that you can ultimately build a life for yourself that suits your personality. And that exactly would be my second advice for anyone in their 20s. Use that decade to figure out who you are exactly. So many people never even figure that out for themselves because of that first point that I mentioned before. They feel lost. So what do you do when you feel lost? You try to fit in. You become part of the masses. You become part of the herd, and you simply do what other people are doing or what they tell you is the right way. And by doing that exactly, I think we miss so much of our own potential. We rob ourselves of our individuality simply because we are too afraid to explore what is within us. Just take my life as a quick example again. I studied business, which is like the most generic thing you could ever study, and I did it exactly because so many other people did it as well. I felt like, okay, so many other people do it, then it can't be completely bad, right? But I had no deeper purpose behind my choice. And it's only in my later 20s that I became more attuned with myself, and I really tried to dig deep. of what my strengths and weaknesses are and what I want to do exactly with my life. What is it that I want to provide to other people? How can I be of service to other people? And that's when I figured out what I want to do. That I want to start my own company, want to be my own boss, want to inspire people, want to reach as many people as possible, want to ultimately work with personal development because it continuously forces me to grow and expand myself. So all of these things came after I graduated from university. And had I continued on that path of just following the herd, I never ever would have figured that out about myself, and deep down inside I always would have been miserable. So use your 20s to get to know yourself better. Even when it feels uncomfortable to leave the beaten path, even when it feels uncomfortable to venture out on your own, not following the masses anymore, and not even knowing exactly where you're gonna go. Just trust that something will come up, and either way you are gonna learn more about yourself by finding your own direction than you could ever by following other people. And now, last but not least, point number 3, your life is not over once you start working. I assume for quite a lot of you guys this is already obvious, but for me it was actually a real epiphany. I always thought that once I'm done with studying, all the fun from my life is gonna be gone. There's not gonna be any more traveling, all the partying during the week will have to stop. I will get all serious and focused on work and making money and raising children and buying houses, all this grown-up shit that I was not into at all. And I simply couldn't imagine myself living a life where I'm still feeling fulfilled and happy with going to work every day. I dreaded work because I felt like it's something that you just do for the money and it doesn't serve a greater purpose. You go there 8 hours per day, kind of sell your lifetime away to somebody else and to do something that you don't deeply care about. And this is a mindset that it honestly took me a while to get rid of because it was so deeply ingrained in the way I saw the world around me. But the older I got, the more I figured out that work can actually be a great experience. It can be something truly fulfilling if you feel that it's in complete harmony with your character. So that of course links right back to point number 2 on this list, that you have to know yourself. If you find that one activity that completely suits your character and your strengths and interests in life, and then at the same time it also serves a larger purpose to society and you can actually make a living with it, then you have found a job that will completely fulfill you and that you will never dread. You will never feel like, oh, it's Monday morning again, I have to go to work and you have to work there for 5 days. I fucking hate going to this place. Instead, you will jump out of bed, excited to make something happen and to produce something that you know almost nobody else could do that well. So these were my 3 tips for everyone out there who is still under 30. And I do of course realize that these were pretty heavily focused on like your professional life and your career. Of course, I also could have focused more on health and fitness. I could have talked about relationships, all these things that are equally important, but I really realized more and more just how much time of our lives we do spend working. You're gonna spend a majority of your time at your job, at your office, whatever you do. So I do believe the 20s are really the time where you have to focus on taking the right path in that area. So thank you guys so much as always for checking out my video. I truly appreciate the support that you've been showing to me and I hope that this was helpful. If it was, feel free to subscribe down below for more videos like this one coming up very soon. Talk to you next time.